And this is a special edition of information coming to you from the Grant Houses Community Radio Station, based in the Grant Houses in Harlem, USA. It's a roundtable discussion on how residents of the community can improve their lives and the lives of their families by harnessing the power of the internet along with their untapped creativity. So we'll start with Reid to give us an insight into the background of this complex here, that this radio station, and also the round table.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brother Leroy, for the introduction. I just want to mention that Greg Shatan is the president of the New York Internet Society chapter. He's here with us. And I've been really just fortunate to be involved with so many incredible people here in the Harlem community and beyond. Brother Leroy mentioned Carlton Davis. He is the president of the Grant Houses Resident Association and a real innovator when it comes to utilizing technology to lift up his community. We're here in his studio that has been operational for, I guess, about 6 months now, that he had the foresight, along with his board of directors, to put together. And we have been broadcasting, streamcasting from this location for several months now. I'm also very happy to be here with Polly Spain, who both myself and my partner Doug Frazier of Digital Divide Partners, we have worked with for close to 10 years now on the Upper West Side, utilizing broadband and internet technology to help empower her residents. And I just also would like to mention that thanks to Dave Burstein, who we hope will join us on the line shortly. He's a technology journalist who helped kind of open my eyes to the Internet Society. And thanks to him and to Greg Shatan, who's here as the president of the New York chapter, both myself and Doug are, Doug's a chapter member, I'm a board member of the Internet Society. And Greg is going to talk a little bit about what the Internet Society does, what its mission is, and in particular how it is looking to reach out further into the community to help initiatives like what we have going on here. Before I hand it over to Greg, let me just mention that the Internet Society New York chapter has co-sponsored a couple of events. I'd like to hand it over to Greg to talk a little bit about the Internet Society and its mission and where you see its place in helping initiatives like what we have going on here at Grant Houses.
The Internet Society is both global and local, which is one of the interesting things about it. There is a global Internet Society that's a nonprofit headquartered down near Washington, D.C. And then there are chapters all around the world. And one of the chapters is the New York chapter, one of the first chapters. One of the past presidents is actually right behind me, helping to stream this out to all of you, Jolie McPhee. So not only do we want to thank him for everything he's doing to get this out today, but for the years of his stewardship of the New York chapter of the Internet Society and so many other things as well. So the New York chapter functions as an organization that can bring several different things to the city. One of the things we concentrate on is community networks, and that is a very strong part. We have 3 or 4 key priorities that are priorities we share with the global Internet Society. And they include security, especially security of the Internet of Things is a new project, and routing security for the more technologically inclined. I know we have a router in the corner there, but a lot of you may not know where your router is, but you need to know whether it's secure or not. But let's talk about community networks, because that's critically important. The digital divide is a real thing. Just this past year, the world crossed the 50% barrier. So now only 49% of people on Earth don't have access to the internet. And that's still a pretty bad number. But access to the internet is not just a matter of having connectivity. It's a matter of affordability. It's a matter of user training. It's a matter of letting people know how best to use it, giving them empowerment that brings them what the internet has to offer. And the Internet Society is founded on what the internet has to offer. The founders of the Internet Society are some of the people who essentially invented the internet. They were among the first people to take two computers and say, let's hook them together. And what about if they're not in the same room? And what about if they're not in the same city? And what about a whole bunch of computers? And what about a whole bunch of networks? And what about connecting all the networks into one internet? Because that's what the internet is. It's a network of networks. And so as these things grew and became more commercialized and more politicized, the Internet Society concentrates on trying to keep the original promise of the internet, which is that the internet is for everyone, and that the internet is open to everyone and to every type of traffic and content as equally as possible. So clearly New York City has internet access of a sort, but it runs short in a lot of different places. I've heard that congressman who serves, maybe not this neighborhood, but up, Espaillat has said that his neighborhood is a fiber desert. So fiber is what is going to get fast, more reliable internet to people. It isn't even there. And when you do get fiber, you got to pay through the nose for it. And you're paying for whatever it is, you're paying too much. So how do you get past the monopoly, the near monopoly of just a couple of companies? We have helped to sponsor and to flourish an organization called NYC Mesh. Mostly in Brooklyn, they are building community networks node by node, and people are going up on rooftops and putting up equipment and setting a network up that way. And so the network marches on, and every once in a while they put up a big piece of equipment that helps expand it further. So that is do-it-yourself networking at a price that is, a fraction of what you have to pay the big boys. This is another example. What Stuart and Doug and Digital Divide Partners are doing, bringing the internet directly to the community, especially in public housing. There's often, a desert in terms of internet access, reliability, cost. Try to overcome all of those. And then when you get it, what do you use it on? How do you use it? As we know, the internet can be used for good or for evil, and a lot of things in between, especially wasting time, whether it's cat pictures or something else. Got to give people something more than that. So that's what we try to support. So I think I've said enough. Maybe I've said too much. I hear the music that says it's time to stop talking.
Polly Spain, what has been your experience working with Digital Divide and gaining your communities, gaining access over fiber deserts and improving yourselves?
Well, I had the fortune of meeting Doug and Stu back in 2011 as a resident of public housing and also as the president of a resident association. I realized that we needed to have a way to access the internet so that we could provide what we call a virtual simulated environment. At that time, we were having problems in our buildings with certain people who were loitering, and there were like major issues going on. So for me, it was about safety, finding a way that we could come into the building safely and not be accosted by strangers. And so we had what was called a resident watch program. And when I met Doug and Stu, they explained to me that they could provide a internet access system set up where we could look at the lobby and the surrounding area of the building on our phone. So I just thought that was really powerful and huge.
If they could pull it off.
Yes, right, because, it was like I've always been an advocate for technology. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I met them and they started telling me, oh, we can do this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I need, And what was good was that it wasn't something that was out of our price range, so to speak. And also, I love the fact that they had been working in other communities, particularly in the South Bronx with John Johnson, who I know has served as a president of a public housing complex in the South Bronx. So we sat down one day, and Stu and Doug kind of mapped out what they were going to do. So basically, it was like a pilot. I trusted them. The main thing was that it wasn't about money for them. It was something, where they wanted to give back to the community. So that really spoke to me in a large way. They really wanted to help. So we started out back in 2011. Gail Brewer at the time was the city council person. We met with her as well, and she provided some funds so that we could launch the program as an educational program where our residents would learn how to install, maintain, and use the system. So they set up the cameras. We sat down. We called it Virtual Resident Watch Program. And it was really exciting because the first week, everybody in the building was like at home watching their cell phone or their monitor or their laptop, And people were coming back saying, oh, this is great, this is great. They got to see their neighbors, and they got to know who they were. That was one positive plus. People felt comfortable, especially women, coming in late at night from work. They felt safe.
That they could access
on the phone.
the surroundings on their phone.
And so before they came in the building.
And one key thing that key for me is that the opportunity that the digital advisor were bringing was not only the cameras and the internet, but also the opportunity for residents to learn how to install and maintain.
Yes, that was definitely a plus because I'm an educator. I teach special education for the Department of Education, and I realized that our young people, especially between the age of 17 and 21, a lot of them are aware of the resources that are out there. A lot of them do not have internet at home. And for them to have the opportunity to learn how to set up their own system, to get certified, so that they can start up their own businesses, it's empowering. And not only that, it gives them the ability to see what they can do for their community to lift it up. So I found that to be important. I think that's very important, not to just have the internet to use just for entertainment, but also to utilize it for education, health services. Since 2011, our quality of life has improved 200% because of digital divide partners. And not only that, each one that teaches one can pass that on to the next generation. Excellent. And that's what it's all about.
What kind of opposition might you have gotten during that period of time to install, for the digital partners to install, and after that?
Well, NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority, I think it's because at the time, they didn't understand from a technological point of view how the system would work.
Without them.
Yeah, exactly. Because here we are as residents, we're not supposed to think long term, so to speak. And also as a resident leader, it was a point where we had to sit down and, kind of educate them as well, to show that it's not something that's going to violate their policies or hurt them. If we're really partners and we're really supposed to engage residents in learning and, becoming self-supportive, then we need to work together. One of the things we got involved with was the elected officials. As I said, Gail Brewer was the city council person at the time. She signed on board with it. We got the NYPD involved. It made their job easier, to the point where they didn't have to get out their police car to do any verticals. So they loved it, and they also supported us. So with the elected officials and the department supporting us, and because it's an education program, NYCHA saw the bigger picture.
Beautiful.
It made their job easier. Maintenance, the maintenance workers were happy because the building was, clean. They loved, working in our building. And then also, as I said, The police department, I'm proud to say we have zero quality of life issues at our building since 2011. But prior to that, the FBI would be there doing raids. I mean, it just really changed the dynamics. Yeah.
So when you say the quality of life improved
yes.
200,
more than
300,
that.
400, 500%.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It was. It made such a difference. Okay. And it's been sustained.
Before we go to Carlton Davis, who just joined us, what has been your experience in recommending digital partners and the opportunity that they represent to other housing developments?
They're on board. I mean, I speak to other resident leaders in the community, and they want it too. It's in very high demand. As a matter of fact, we have expanded to 5 other locations. And so right now, I have a president who's interested in also setting up a radio station as well. And Ethel Velez from Johnson Houses. She came on board around the same time that I came on board. So that was good. And as I said, it's been a positive, to me, experience, because I think now, you mentioned earlier the president about the desert. Yeah, we still have pockets of deserts in public housing. So, it's my wish and my hope that Digital Divide could basically expand throughout the city, because this is something that's important. And I'm here to support whatever initiatives that they want to get involved with, because I feel that's important. They not only save lives, but they've empowered generations.
Excellent.
Empowerment was really the word that kept coming through my head as we were listening, because this really empowered you, and it gave you the practical tools to get it done.
Yeah.
And this is something that we, the Internet Society, the New York chapter, hope can be replicated. The Internet Society has a grant program, not just for grant houses, but for small grants and some large grants, and with working through Digital Divide partners or other ways, we will support internet installs of this type. As, our mantra is the internet is for everyone, and everyone has got to be on the internet.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And now we have the opportunity of speaking with Brother Carlton Davis of the Grant Houses. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, how you doing? I think, this is on, I believe, yes. How's everything, Brother Leroy?
Excellent.
Yeah.
And getting better.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. It's beautiful to hear that. It's beautiful to hear all the good news that's coming out throughout public housing now, due to the collaborations with Digital Divide partners and other entities that are starting to, gel together, mesh together, and realize that we can be self-sustainable and still follow rules and regulations and policies. And if NYCHA is engaging with us, as Ms. Polly Spain stated, we shouldn't have no problems creating bases like this here, where people can feel in control of coming in their homes. Don't have to worry about if police is constantly in front of their building so they can get into their apartments and into the building. Being all in the stairwells and stuff. You put a camera there.
Yep.
It's research. It's nothing permanent. It could come down and be put back up at a later time. Put it on another floor. Put the same camera on another floor. Wherever the problem is, put the camera there. And these are the channels that I'm fighting now, with NYCHA bigwigs, which is, they listening, thank God. Whatever I'm doing, all praise due. It's coming to where they're listening to not just me, but us. Well, I'm a big vocal person. I meet a lot of them in the citywide meetings, tracking and analytical people. And they the ones who's calling the shots and taking it to the people just above them. And my stuff is being recorded citywide. So when they read the books, they know that somebody's in there, fighting for a better housing, services to go along with the rent. And all this stuff still comes back to what we're doing here with the Digital Divide partners. It's help to increase the services.
Yep.
Because we're paying a lot of money. We're paying mortgage rates and don't have the service. So in Grant, and I hope throughout all of our housing, we don't want the finance of the dollars to be devalued, as is $1,000 a month in a public housing that you're not cleaning and repairing. It's
Exactly.
nothing. So you're getting a twofold, with me, the cameras and the services that we supposed to have the expectations to live up to, paying mortgage, a house, paying for a house, monthly house mortgage, they're paying it,
Right.
Carlton, take us through what the conditions were before you brought in digital divide partners. What was the condition? What happened after that? What's the mood and the spirit of the tenants then and now?
Well, I'm a quick run through from 2015 all the way up to late last year. We were generating the self-esteem mentally, changing the minds that okay, you live in public housing, you don't live in the projects, you live in a high-rise building. I've never seen a high-rise building be called the projects and is sanctioned by the FAA. That's insane in twisted language and thought to think of. During that time frame, when I started doing my research, which I'm good at doing, I start coming across a few names. I'm like, okay, that's Stuart, Reid, okay, Doug Frazier. So I did my dig deeper. They came out with a test bed for $20 million with, I believe, Columbia University and stuff. A whole group of Rutgers and NITs and stuff. By the time they test bed and finish up, it'd be 2026. We're not waiting.
Right.
Let's make next generation NYCHA now. So I hooked up with Stu Reid and Doug. Stu put out a excellent blueprint of a large scale digital divide partner. So I seen something like what we call movable blocks, programs that you can interact with each other on even though the whole property was a large scale, that you can pick out portions of that program and have a good price.
Oh yeah, the price.
And so Stu said, "Well, what do you want?" I want the gold package. give me the gold package. So we got the gold package. Y'all in the gold package. It has everything sustainable. Life has changed dramatically. We don't have situations inside of Grant. Everything is on 125th Street. It's like we dropped the nucleus and it just all the negativity is on the outskirts now. And the precincts have to deal with it more. Our NCOs, they have the technology. They can see what they got coming in. And they want more. So I'll be talking with NYCHA. Now, even though we can do it, but we want them in. Because what y'all may not know, NYCHA is on our board, Grant Houses board for the West Harlem Development Corporation. I can insert them as committee members anytime we need to do anything on NYCHA.
Oh, that's great.
And when we have the research and the resources, and we'll pay for it, I should be like, okay.
And you might even make NYCHA look good.
It has. Our property manager, oh man, they we won for exterior lighting. They did all they doing all the indoors. So we got LED coming. As soon as you walk out the LED, boom.
Nice.
LED, and kids are not in the hallways or the lobbies. They're outside. So yes, the impact is massive, and we just started. I got like a year and a half left, before the next election. So we're gonna fast walk and move through this real swift. We're gonna go through some cash real swift, and it's gonna be very intelligent wise, to help with other developments expand.
It's not the easiest thing to be the president of any grassroots organization. I don't know about organizations above grassroots. All I know is grassroots.
Grassroots.
So you have for real envy and jealousy. Just, I don't like the way he looks. I don't like the way he walks. That kind of stuff.
It's oozing.
What opposition? This is a good story. I'm looking for. What opposition did you have before you even got a chance to set up what Digital Divide Partners were bringing, who now are, quote, true believers?
Well, we had certain residents of the negative forces, the disagreeable ones, try to have me removed with false accusations. The Kevin Hart theory, the R. Kelly stuff, and we proved that to be absolutely false. I'm a come and go kind of person. I'm here now because I just left home. And when I finish here, I'm going back home. I don't run the streets. I don't hang. I'm a husband, a family man, you know what I'm saying, and a father. And I live by that code. So, yeah, you get a lot of mad envy. It's oozing. We have a lot of single women. We do family things. So, okay, you might be single, but let's bring your family. We go on trips. We had Mr. Stu Reid experience trips that we go on. We took him to Fun Fusion right up where nearby he lived, and we all enjoyed. I mean, you can see the kids just enjoying themselves. So when you have a president that will treat you like he treat his own, treat your kids like I treat my own child, take you out to with 200 of us to go eat, at the Golden Corral, and we pay for everything. Yeah, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get this who you think he is, Jesus. You get these kinds of innuendos and stuff. So yeah, I had massive problems. I was attacked the first week of October, and as a president, had to get up and get the swinging. Something that not for me. I'm a leader. But, it came to a point where I physically touched, and I physically touched back.
What I'm looking for, responding to envy and jealousy, have there been converts to, hey, let's do even bigger things?
Oh, that just pushed me to fight even more harder. We got a 3-trip tour to D.C. to the African American Museum coming up.
Oh, that's nice.
We're checking for weather, to make sure when we leave, we come back and we don't be in those storms. Because we went out one time to Pennsylvania, and we was in a wind gust, bus rocking, bus went out, and so we experienced that once, and that's what we're doing now. So we got a 3-trip tour where you are guaranteed to finish this whole building.
The resident association has gotten stronger.
Yes.
The opposition has made you stronger.
Yes.
Because it's no longer assuming that everybody's going to be along with it, even though everyone has benefited from what has happened. And that's internet, and that's also the smart community, the cameras on each floor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this experience has been a tremendous one for you.
Yes, it has. It's taken the mass majority of positive residents, and you're starting to see who's the enemies. And it's sad because these people, they speak to you, they need help from you, and they're willing to tear you down because you're making the housing development better with, Digital Divide Partners having the resources, and we're pulling our resources with their resources, their ability to effectively apply in blind spots, and to see things that on the normal you wouldn't see. Like we have an overhead shot, we can see who throwing bottles and things out the window, and it can be reported. And you know, and people, we're moving the negativity, you know,
Of the mind.
of the minds.
So hopefully we'll bring in some of the stuff that we learned at our Ivy League towers
Exactly.
and with these fancy MBA guys and venture capital guys. We're bringing that knowledge, that expertise back home to where we came from and trying to make it work here in the community.
I want to swing to Greg Shatan, and that is, if you were reporting back to your circle of Internet Society members, what would your summary of this meeting thus far be?
This is really an example of how the internet brings people together and how it builds stronger communities and how bringing connectivity and resources into a community helps make it safer, more sociable, stronger, more empowered, and that ultimately answers many of the goals of the Internet Society and of the internet in the first place. That was supposed to be a force for good and a force to connect people and not to drive people apart and not to put people in their bedrooms instead of on, facing each other. So this has been used in so many ways as a community building and bottom-up organization. That's another thing that the Internet Society is very big on, is bottom-up processes that start with the people and not with the big wigs. And the way that this, started, it didn't start at NYCHA. It didn't start in some, city office of technology. It started right here on the ground. And, we have Stu and Doug and, hopefully others in other places that are bringing that kind of connectivity to the people. But ultimately, it started at the bottom. And so that's another part that's very important to the Internet Society. And so I would say that this is emblematic of the type of community networking that we want to see. And it's not just merely providing an endpoint that you can plug into and get the internet. That's just a part of the equation. And this is really showing how you can fill it out and make it a real experience, because the internet itself is just a bunch of wires and cables, undersea cables. It's a very physical thing, but what you do with it is next level. And that, I think, is what's important here, is that this is some next level stuff.
And saying the next level stuff, when this roundtable is seen and it reflects inner city innovation, how much stimulus might it provide to communities outside of the inner city to do things that would help them and their surrounding communities?
Well, I think that this shows how you can use it to bring communities together. The internet can bring people together when they're not physically so close. So we've been working with some of the communities in the Hudson Valley, where you don't have big cities, but you have small cities. You've got towns, you've got Poughkeepsie, you've got Newburgh, you've got Kingston, you've got lots of places like that. And the questions there is, are we dense enough to build community networks? And the answer is going to be yes, but it's also, what do we do? What puts the community into community networks? It's not just the fact that it's being built by the community for the community, but that it's bringing something to the community. And I think that it's also, a part of it too, is that people think that the internet, the digital desert, the digital divide, it doesn't exist so much in a place like New York. Even just telling people that is important. They think it's going to be, on a mountain in the Himalayas or in the, in the Serengeti desert, and that's where you can't get the internet. But the fact of the matter is that you can't get the internet here, or if you can get it, you can get it for a price which you can't afford, because we don't have true competition. So what we have here is self-empowerment to undercut the monopolists. Well, the Internet Society, can be used to get people chances. I'm glad you mentioned the fact that it's FREE to join. Yes. You just go to internetsociety.org, you join the Global Internet Society, and then you can join a chapter or chapters of your choice. So, she's clearly joined the New York chapter, but
Correct.
if you want to join the chapter in Kathmandu just to see what they're up to, you could do that too. Then the more people are involved in the chapter, the more that we can get projects and things done and put this out. One of the things that also it's interesting listening to this, the internet is not the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web uses the internet to get around, but the internet is its own thing. So this is not the World Wide Web Society. And, we have only scratched the surface of what kind of content you can put on the web using this, but yet you've done so much that has nothing to do with web content, or has very little to do with web content, or maybe it's delivery of things like, camera video and stuff like that, but not putting together, children's shows. All that would be good too, but the internet itself is what empowered and powered this, which is a great story about what the internet can do. And when you talk about the Internet of Things, the things are things like cameras and all sorts of smart devices and things like that. So, you in a sense, you've made a leap ahead because you're using the internet more as an Internet of Things than an Internet of content. You got both sides, of course, and you've also got radio content and other things, but the fact of the matter is that you're using this network that brings data and power and connectivity around to people, and you are taking it to a place where it has radically changed a community. And as you say, a community that is part of a community the size of Vermont, that would be one of the 50 largest cities in the United States if it was put in by itself. Now, we can talk at some other time about how people get packaged up so that they can be ignored. But
do that?
and look at and at least you're in a place here where you're in the center. You got Harlem, you got Columbia, you got Central Park, you got a whole bunch of good stuff nearby. City College, they pushed a whole bunch of projects out to Far Rockaway. That was not a mistake. That was not to encourage surfing. That was to package people. So
The ingredients of this here is that we have kids all the way up to 90-year-olds coming in and will be coming in for training. We got a list that's unbelievable. The rate of our residents done went from 50 to 80 lining up to be a part of
This initiative.
giving out the information that's in grant houses and using digital divide apartments, resources to connect Brother Leroy,
Right.
Polly Spain.
let me take this thing of evidence one step further. So I think there is a great story here, a great reality here. It's not a story. So, and we have a picture of it, and the picture is getting more vivid in my mind just as we talk about it. But we need a way to get the message out. And the Internet Society has ways of getting messages out around the world through websites, through webcasts like this. But what I think is needed here, I would suggest a documentary, a short documentary, 5 to 7 minutes, something that's people can watch, that's well produced, that tells the story, shows what this produces, and shows what this type of community networking brings. One of the reasons I think NYC Mesh gets good press is that their story is very simple and it's easy to tell, it's easy to see what their story is. The story here is actually more complex and richer in many ways, but it's also something that has to be brought together. It's not just a 15-second soundbite.
Right.
There's really a lot of levels to this. But I think you could reach out to somebody, whether it's people in the community, you could reach out to Columbia University, which
They've been here.
It's here, and it's
They were here.
It's
City
looming up.
Council,
Everybody.
everybody.
Yeah, the Ghetto Film School, Tribeca Film, whatever it is.
That's right.
There's lots of people out there who are looking to make documentaries. There are all those graduate students who need a really good subject
We
and
will,
who need
we
an
will be
audience.
talking to Mr. Robert De Niro.
Absolutely. There's all sorts of people. One of my high school friends, his daughter just got a documentary into a major documentary thing. I'm even going to ask her about this. I don't know what her next documentary is going to be, but there is a story here, and what you need that short but rich enough thing that can go out where people can get clicks. this is a very good talk, but we're not going to get 2 million clicks on a 2-hour conversation. Right. If we get 5 to 7 minutes with some soundtrack and nice video editing, and the package that's there tells a story that's compelling.
Well, Mr. President of Internet Society, we got our training courses coming up next. So that's one of the richness. It's just, it's so much happening. It's moving so fast, and I'm seeing the people, the kids. It's like something positive just flowed over them, and they really are looking forward to enriching themselves in here, and plus we're gonna spread. We got people like saying, "Hey, next door neighbors, I want that."
Yeah.
We got people that want the technology, and to get to this big point is when all of us is in here, and what you stated, and we're doing documentaries. You got Brother Leroy, asking the vivid questions. He wants that picture that we can't get to yet. That God awe-inspiring picture of absolute nurturing in public housing. We don't live like animals here, and that's one of the, because people think, oh, you live in the project. Oh, no. If you clean the projects and you mop the floors like it was done in the 70s and made the repairs, you couldn't tell us from co-op. Well, I'm the president that was installed by a higher authority. I turned down a good job to work for no money. And I've been blessed. My bills are paid. Our books are perfect. And that's one of the real vibrant reality is that you could take a person like me who's, street, a street fighter, a boxing, a ring, and all these things, martial arts and all that, and actually have me lead people. And everybody know I'm tough. I spent 10 years federal service military with the Navy, cryptology and writing the recruiting manuals and all these great things. To take a person that was hard as a rock, and mold this person to where he can, when he speak, like people listen. Like, okay, he got a little animation. He don't look like it. He got some knowledge. Oh, wait a minute. He can tell you, some things about some things.
Yeah.
According to, public housing, I could tell you everything. I could tell you where the pipe's at. I ain't even just in what apartment you in. I could tell you how your whole apartment is designed. That's what kind of lead they got that goes door to door, 1,940 doors. Check on the elders. Y'all see that we have refreshments. We come with the juice packs and water and everything. We got some 5-gallon joints there. Water go out. We out there pushing out, for people filling up their buckets with water. I think if that's the get to it point, all this is nurturing and pushing that. We were doing it, and now we could do it. We can actually see what we're doing.
What you have to do, this is a great story. This is not just the story of Doug and Stu. It's not just the story of grant houses, but it's the story of what happens when people come together, when people who have a vision and have the power, have been given the power, and then they bring the power to the people. That's right. And that enables them to take this whole thing a much more positive thing. This is a great story for the internet, for the people, and for what real people need from the internet.
And we need what I'm looking for. Who we need and will get here will be Lisa Evers, McGee Hickey, Nina Pineda, all them from the news. They're gonna sit in these seats, and they're gonna witness. When you talk about public housing, we're gonna have a positive outlook that's moving in that direction, and we're not gonna be dwelling on the small things that's happening. We need positive focus. Unless me running for president for this whole and taking what I'm taking means nothing. If we're not gonna change the mindset, the positive, we're gonna sit here and have positive conversations. And when you leave negativity behind, it never catches up. Because this is a boundless universe. And it's built on perpetual positivity, endlessly. And when we follow those paths, we follow that righteous path, Siratu Mustaqim, we can be successful. Everybody. Right now, we got Columbia students. They come through Grant. Yo, what's up? Hey, how you doing? What's up, man? People never spoke. All ethnic, Asian, whatever. Some, they give a nod, give them a nod back. That's the, the
Respect.
The respect. We got stores that's brand new stores that we're going in. Grant, we promoting the pharmacies. They come to the meeting, do their presentation. Before this was, now they can do their presentation. Yeah. Tell them hit your buddies up on YouTube. Everybody YouTube up. That's where you get everything at. We all YouTube our peoples. We're gonna be on such and such. Start putting out the flyers, hang them up. Talk to Nigel. Look, I need this posted. And you can be part of it, and let them know that we're gonna have a show coming up and who all going to be on it. Start giving these people who's going to be there, who's all interested in pushing Digital Divide Partners technology to a higher level.
Well, we want to push the people, because our goal is to help people to be smart.
Yes,
And
but
that's what we're really pushing.
but see, you know what? You might have missed the big picture. I'm a big head. All the people that's here and involved are Digital Divide Partners. So it's not just dedicated to y'all. It's you done created a huge nucleus.
Yes, yeah.
So it can't just be surrounded not by y'all. You gotta accept that you done created a whole bunch of Doug Fraziers, a whole bunch of Stu Reids, man. We got you. We behind y'all.
We need some
Yeah.
Shatans. That's what we
It's a movement.
need.
I'm right here with you.
Yeah, we need the grads. We need it.
Yeah.
What
So-
what we need to do? We need to get you in our meeting this Thursday, if you're available. All of us need to show up and actually get people to start signing up, because we have a large membership, and we're due for next year. Membership is coming right around the corner. 2020 is right around the corner, and the first 90 days can be a great jump start, or the first 100 days going into 2020. It'd be great to actually start having people sign up on one of the forums and start putting it together for where they want to be on in the internet society. People will sign up, people will start to become involved in it, and we can work our way right out of that nucleus right there and grow.
Now, this Thursday, I'll be teaching at the North American School of Internet Governance in Montreal.
That's very important.
But that's important. But Stu is going to be around. Stu is the secretary of the New York chapter of the Internet Society, and I think getting the message out, and frankly, the Internet Society New York chapter, a lot of what we do is based on what the members want to do, and the more members you get that want to do a thing, the more likely that thing is to get done. So
when the membership hear about something that is tangible as this nature, and is also interlocked with what's going on now, we have no problems getting people to actually sign. They're very well aware of Stu and Doug. They sit in the midst and they conversate, and they bring in people together when the presentations slowed down and we preparing for the next presenter. They are mingling with the people. They letting them know what is available. We need that on that platform to be up and in front of them now. They done mixed in the people. They done got a chance to have themselves exposed to what they're capable of doing. Now we need them on the forefront to actually bring another format to them. And this would be great. The Halloween thing on this Thursday is a forum. You could come, Polly Spain. You're welcome, invite. We put you on the agenda, but we have a plethora of food, and everybody's just going to basically mingle. It'd be a fundraiser without the fun.
Oh, you didn't tell me there would be food.
Yeah, it'd be some food.
Maybe I'll change my schedule.
Yeah, we gonna have some good food.
So it'd be like a meet and greet, and people just talking.
When it comes around the holiday season,
Yeah.
people be like, oh, hardcore, we gotta find out this. And you get there, you hear light music.
Oh, nice.
And like, what the heck is this? Carlton, what you doing? Oh, we gonna mingle.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Such and start
Yeah.
introducing.
Nice.
It's like a network
Nice.
where we all, come together, and they never had that done.
Wow.
In the previous 20 to 30 years of Red Association, but we had it for
Good.
going on 6 years now.
Nice.
Been every holiday or whatever, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, we throw a nice event, and then other events follow. You
Right,
might have
right.
a back-to-back event.
Yeah.
An event then a party,
Yeah.
and things like that for the kids. So this would be a great time to actually, on Halloween, get the positivity of the Internet Society applied and implemented, and start really getting the people that's really involved, that's really want to move fast forward into what we're doing.
So Greg, Stu's going to be there Thursday, you say?
I absolutely promise those two will be there.
Thank you, Greg.
And Doug, I know you're going to back me up on this one.
All the way.
So as we round this out, I want to go to Stu in terms of Digital Divide Partners and the vision that you had as you launched Digital Partners, and what you see now, what has opened up since that particular initial vision. Where do you see this going?
Yeah, the thing that gratifies and inspires me most is to see people like Polly Spain and Carlton Davis and Ethel Velez and others that have picked up the mantle of what technology can do and how it can be used as a tool to empower and lift up our communities. There's only so much that me and Doug can do. We're just two guys. But I'm just so happy that we've been able to kind of infiltrate and, as Carlton said earlier, expand the whole base of what the Digital Divide Partners is. So it's not just a couple of guys, it's a whole community. So to see resident leaders like the folks we have here at the table and others pick up the mantle and start to move forward on their own, coming up with their own solutions, their own applications. I just want to give a shout out to John Johnson, who's a resident leader that we go back maybe 10, 12 years, maybe 15 years, Doug and myself, who was the first resident leader. He's in Mont Haven Houses in the South Bronx, that came to us and said, hey, can you guys help me? I have this problem and that problem. Can you use technology? Can you put in some cameras and help with the quality of life? And he's the one that introduced us to Polly Spain, introduced us to Ethel Velez, which led us to Carlton. So he was a really foundational leader who got it really at an early time. And I'm so excited now to see 10, 12 years later that so many others are picking up the mantle, and that the Digital Divide Partnership is really expanding throughout the community.
And how can people who are watching this make contact with Digital Divide?
Send us an email at info@ddpny.org. That's the
Repeat
best
that,
way.
please.
info@ddpny.org.
And Greg, Shatan, how can people connect with your organization?
Well, they can go to ISOC-NY.org. They can write to me, Greg at ISOC-NY.org, or president at ISOC-NY.org. Go on the internetsociety.org website, find us, join the chapter, get on our mailing list, hear about the stuff that we're doing, join the chapter and make things happen. And, we'd love to just, this is all about connectivity, so let's connect.
And as we conclude, how can folks make contact with you, Polly?
They can go to federal8.org, O-R-G, and we have our website, and so my contact information is there.
Very good. Carlton?
They can contact me with my cell. I'm mobile. I'm in the field majority of the time. Is at 347-421-1699, or they can contact me through my email, carltondavis64@gmail.com.
Repeat that.
carltondavis64@gmail.com.
And Doug Frazier and Stu.
GHCR.NYC. GHCR.NYC.
Very good. Thank you very much. This has been a roundtable discussion, and it's been very grassroots. And especially with the commercials from Brother Doug. Got me scared up in here. I started right out of here. But anyway, the point is that this has been a community roundtable to discuss the power that exists, that all that has to happen is for it to be tapped into. And when you have tenant or residents of various communities saying, look, I need a change, and finding that change opportunity with an organization such as Digital Divide Partners, you have a convergence of the perfect storm of creativity. And we're going to follow up on the ideas that Greg has shared. Hey, this should be a 5 or 7 minute documentary. We have so much talent within the community to do that virtually immediately once we get those folks together. So thank you very much for viewing this. Thank you, Carlton Davis, and the residents of Grand Houses for enabling a radio station to be put right here in Harlem. It's the second one outside of the James Weldon Johnson houses, yes. And it makes a world of difference. Thank you very much for watching this Community Roundtable.